hey, migrant children are being regularly exploited for cheap labor here in the US. Well, bipartisan outrage was swift, but the actual action was not. And as a reminder, the labor issues include this: migrant child labor benefits both under the table operations and global corporations. The Times found in Los Angeles, children stitch Made in America tags into J. Crew shirts. They bake dinner rolls sold at Walmart and Target, processed milk used in Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and helped debone chicken sold at Whole Foods. As recently as the fall, middle schoolers made fruit of the loom socks in Alabama. In Michigan, children make auto parts used by Ford and General Motors. We are not only destabilizing a lot of these people's countries and also continuing to fuel their black markets, but then we are exploiting their children. Come on. And really the worry is that the issue will become entangled here in a long-running war on immigration policy, when it should be wholly separate in terms of migrant child labor is completely and totally unacceptable. But let's turn back to the New York Times. Legislation to crack down on companies' use of child labor has gone nowhere and currently has little Republican backing, while Democrats' efforts to increase funding for federal agencies to provide more support services to migrant children who cross the border by themselves face long odds in the House, where the GOP has pledged to slash agency budgets. As Congress prepares to wade into a bitter debate over immigration policy in the coming days, Republican and Democrats have retreated to their opposite corners, abandoning whatever initial hope there may have been for tackling the issue of child labor in a bipartisan way. And just as a reminder, as the number of children crossing the southern border alone has soared at record levels, many have taken on dangerous jobs that violate long-standing labor laws, including in factories, slaughterhouses, and at construction sites. Yeah, last 2 years alone, more than 250,000 children have entered the US by themselves. And again, they've been alone and they've also been exploited. The result is basically that the political space is vanishing for any consensus in Congress on a policy solution to help protect these children. And in fact, the New York Times had highlighted that the Biden administration ignored numerous signs of this exploitative labor that we knew was going on for some time. And the neglect would often come from the sponsors that children were placed with. Check out this chart. It shows clearly the reports of trafficking and abuse of migrants. To pretend we didn't know is an absolute farce. And the thing is it's not just migrant children, it's increasingly become American children too. But before we jump on that train, Jackson, are you as appalled as I am in terms of the fact that our legislature can't come together to pass any kind of meaningful law that would prevent these companies from exploiting these children who are coming here seeking refuge?
Well, I mean, like, if we can't come together on this, then what are we gonna come together on that matters other than like increasing the military budget, no matter what administration is in office? But this is just like an incredibly easy issue. This is an automatic yes, no questions asked issue. Let's just make sure that kids aren't working. But also, we can't overlook the fact that, given that that's the case, how intentional and organized it is to have children working in your ranks. Especially as you pointed out, we covered here on Unbossed about, the McDonald's scandal, states trying to make it so that 16, 17-year-olds can cut down giant trees. And, the reasoning isn't complicated at all. It's just you don't have to pay children as much. And especially when it comes to migrant children, well, you can pay them even less, if nothing at all. They had those 10-year-olds working in the McDonald's and not paying them nothing. But again, these things don't accidentally happen. It's quite logical, actually. We want more profit, and you don't have to pay kids as much because they're children. But I mean, it's like, what direction is America really headed in? So much of our success was just a sugar high. World War II happened, the rest of the world collapsed, and America is just like, ah! But now, it's like military might really isn't enough. The rest of the world is caught up in terms of technology, in terms of strategy, in terms of culture, and whatever they're willing to accept in their innovation and their initiatives. And America is literally doing nothing about child labor, doing nothing about gun violence. Going back 50 years, reversing Roe v. Wade, Republican states still going at it. Nebraska, they about to go back after that 6-week abortion ban, despite the fact that absolutely no one wants that. But that's the state of America. So yes, I'm appalled as well.
Yeah, very much so. And I love that you had brought up McDonald's, because it brings us to this headline here, I believe last week. That's right, that restaurant in Kentucky, 2 10-year-olds discovered working unpaid till as late as 2 a.m.